Yeah, woohoo, yeehaw! And look at that, Graham slips under the radar. Yes, welcome everybody. It is Thursday. It is 9, so it's UK Cowboys time. And how is everybody feeling that this is the final preseason show?
It could swing in two ways, couldn't it? It's like, yes, preseason's finally over, but it's like, damn it, Cowboys football's really here. It's like a roller coaster of emotions that I don't think we're ready for.
Yeah, it's already all going on. But that is what we're going to do tonight. We will be pitching all of you at home as well the questions. So get answering them, put in the comments as we're asking them. There will be plenty and some predictions as well. We'll chuck that in there as well. But should we do this, right, guys? For the first time, I'm going to hit you with this. Oh, how did that make everyone feel?
Oof.
Nah.
Got a twinge in my toes.
Yeah.
Can anyone guess which one has just got off an aeroplane? Take a guess. There's your first question, everyone at home.
Well, it's definitely not the striker that Leeds was supposed to buy because he's just turned around. So it's got to be someone sat above us in there.
Yeah, in case anyone doesn't follow me on social media, I've literally just came back from Greece from a Greek wedding, and I still feel rough as hell. So,
do you know what? We were talking off air though, weren't we? Now, can you really class it as a real Greek wedding? Because there were no plate smashing, Paul. You told us that's just
apparently that's an old tradition. They don't really do that much anymore. So. But hey, I loved it. I had a great time. I was more than merry, would you say? I literally nearly jumped in a swimming pool with a kilt on. So it was a good night. So
and they always say nothing goes wrong if you jump into a pool in just a skirt.
Well, it was just mad. Uzo. Oh no. I am no Lloyd, no Uzo, no Uzo. I cannot drink that. That is just absolute vile.
That stuff is foul. And do you know what's really bad about Uzo is that the next day, and you're all hungover, you think, I know what I'll do. I'll have a nice, cold, refreshing drink. Boof, you're drunk again.
True.
It's one of those great mysteries.
Sorry, I've completely hijacked this news and updates. So
this is the news and updates, mate. The news and updates are you got off the cliff.
News is that you're back safe and well, Paul. That's the news.
Hey.
All right, so I'm gonna hit you with some facts, and then I'll hit you with some news. So first of all, of the 9 players the Cowboys drafted this year, all made the final roster. In one way or another. With the undrafted free agents the Cowboys took on this year, that's 14 players on the roster drafted in UDFAs. Go on, Paul.
Marcus Marshall made a really good point, actually. I think it's since 2002, I can't remember if it's 2020 or 2021, every single draft pick that we've made is in the roster right now.
Correct. Yes. So from this year's draft stock and last year, that's 20 players on this roster that drafted.
That's more than 2/3 of the squad, not 1/3 of the squad. So
I know. Yeah. And what's crazy, like when you think about it, everyone always says like, "Oh, we got 11 draft picks." That's what we were saying last year. And you're like, but you won't expect all 11 to make it. Well, they did, and not only did they, all 9 draft picks they had this year made it too.
Yeah.
What do you make of that, Gray? I can see you looking there.
Well, there wasn't much addition in free agency, so you've got to fill your roster somehow.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I will say is by doing what they've done, the Cowboys roster is actually the second youngest in the NFL.
I don't know about you guys, but that's not a good thing.
No, true.
It's very, very inexperienced. Like I raised the point on Tuesday night.
Well,
the Cowboys have 1 player over 3 years on the offensive line.
Well, that might change if we decide to bring in Jason Peters.
That will change.
we have another addition that has happened today as well, mind you, on the offensive line. We'll get to that in a moment. Jordan Lewis, just so you know, he will be on the field versus Tampa Bay. He practiced and looks like on the field. On other news, Tyler Smith was at practice today, playing at left tackle. So that looks like how it's going to be for the Tampa Bay game. A lot of people talking, especially when we put the post up about the roster, the final roster. They mentioned about backup quarterback. Well, Mike McCarthy has come out, said Cooper Rush will be our number 2. They were his exact words. So he will be penciled in to be on the sideline come week 1. So there's another little tidbit. Right, additions. So there have been additions, and we'll go through the 53 in a moment. So they signed Quadri Allison, the running back, somebody who, mind you, Dan Quinn has played with before, or coached, I should say, rather than played with. Quite interesting. But they have added offensive lineman Dakota Shetley to the practice squad. So that's the 17-man practice squad, because bear in mind, Isaac Alarcon under the Pathway program doesn't count towards that. He's 27 years of age. Go on, sorry, Paul.
I was going to say Alarcon is no longer under that agreement anymore, so...
Yes, he is, and he's got this is his last year. This is the last one. I was actually with BJ Nix on Saturday, and we were talking about this. This is his final season of that. Then they have to make a decision. But yes, Dakota Shetley. He's 27 years of age. He was a 5th overall pick of the Canadian Football League and was an undrafted free agent. Signed with New York Jets before going back to the Canadian Football League. Now he's been signed by the Cowboys. That's literally before we went live. That news came in. So they've added another offensive lineman to the practice squad. So I know you gave quite a long speech, Graham, about the offensive line. How does that make you feel about another offensive lineman in the building now?
Indifferent. Indifferent. My knowledge is that they have 9 offensive linemen at the minute. Like I raised the point on Tuesday night show with Brian that all of a sudden we're quite happy to start Connor McGovern at left guard, knowing full well that he was a backup. I referred to him as a backup's backup on Tuesday's show. So yeah, it's a bit of a worry. I don't know how you guys are feeling about it, but like Lauren tried to raise my spirits by saying, it's a group of young guys that will ascend. Hopefully, that's the plan. Yeah, you only have so many windows of Dak Prescott.
True.
Zeke's not going to last forever. You're going to have to decide what you're doing with CeeDee Lamb at some point. Dalton Schultz is on a 1-year deal. This talk of win now, the Cowboys' offensive line is not ready to win now. Yeah, I may be doing the guys a complete disservice, but we can only react to what we know, what's been put on paper, what has been played, like how the play was in 2021. If Terrence Steele keeps ascending, brilliant. If Tyler Smith develops into a left tackle, even though we signed him to play guard, if he does that in the next week and a half, even better. We drafted a center because we weren't happy with who we had at center. We brought in Lindstrom because we wanted a bit of competition there. He hasn't made it. So, yeah, I'd love to be on a fly in the wall when Zach Martin goes home at night.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into the 53-man roster now, and everybody at home as well. Give us your predictions, because I'm going to ask during each position some predictions, and we'll do some overall predictions at the end as well. But yeah, and we'll go through it step by step. For Paul, it may be as well because you haven't been in the thick of it all since you've been on the plane.
I've been completely isolated. I don't even remember what day it is, to be honest.
I told you at the start of the show is Thursday, and it's 9. Well, it's no longer 9. It's a bit later than that.
I was just figure of speech, you know.
I know. Man, you really are tired because you're not even getting sarcasm.
No, I'm not.
All right, then let's get into this, right, guys? So the quarterback position, fairly easy. All right. Dak Prescott, he is not only is he QB1, he's the one QB on the active roster. In terms of practice squad, Cooper Rush will agree. As I said, Mike McCarthy has come out and said Rush is going to be the number 2. But in terms of the quarterback position there, is there any surprises or are we quite happy with what we've got? And how do you foresee the quarter? It's fairly simple, the quarterback position, because we know it all revolves around the 1. But any predictions on the quarterback position, guys?
I was kind of hoping Will Greer would have made a big bit of a push, but who knows? But it just seems like Rush has just got more of the side of Kellen Moore, I think. I mean,
he's done it as well in a regular season game. When they've asked him to, he's been
he's done that. So
yeah,
I mean, if it's not broken, why replace it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm with you there.
It also doesn't fill you with massive confidence. In terms of who's backing up Dak, because I know Graham's a big advocate of it as well, saying that your QB1 goes down, you're pretty much not going to win.
Season's over.
If Dak's out for 3 weeks, can Cooper Rush get at least 2 wins? I don't think he can.
It depends who you're playing against. Well, let's be honest though, Jamie. We didn't expect to beat Minnesota. Let's be honest.
True.
Yeah.
We also like when Cooper Rush was in, everyone was like throwing the Cowboys down the dustbin, pretty much. Like all the media pundits saying, "Yep, it's going to be an easy win for Minnesota. It should be a walk in the park." Cooper Rush, all fair credit to him, stepped up and actually played a really good, decent game. Yeah. So fair play to him.
Yeah, true in that aspect. And I don't want to kind of dwell on the past, but if you look at it all those years ago when the Cowboys won the Super Bowl and Troy Aikman went down and they put Bernie Kosar in and he won a few games. And that's the kind of the way I was trying kind of thinking about it, is that you back up probably he needs to kind of help you along the way. Yeah, you're not going to get Cooper rushing and he's going to throw for 300-400 yards a game, but you need him to manage it well. And I couldn't see it. If we needed those two, if there's maybe 2 wins, he would get them. I think that there's a few people out there that would probably serve better as a backup, but who knows? It's a little bit. Right. I know we touched on it a little bit. It feels a little bit like this season with the Cowboys. I think it's just more so because it's we've not really kind of been in the media as much as we usually are, and it doesn't sit. I don't know if anybody else feels, but it just doesn't feel like there's that buzz around the start of the season.
Yeah, I think it's because everything's been quietly done.
You're right, but quietly isn't the Joneses' style.
Facts.
Yeah, that is true.
There's been no big off-season splash at all. Taking a guard tackle isn't sexy.
Anthony Barr
is actually pretty decent, to be fair.
Anthony Barr was a B-list signing. Let's not kid ourselves on.
If you're talking Anthony Barr from 3 or 4 years ago, then you'd say that's a splash.
But the question is though, does he bring actual quality depth to our linebacker core? I would say yes.
Agree.
Oh yeah, definitely.
To our linebacker core, yeah.
Like I would still start him over Leighton Van Der Esch, personally.
I don't know. Van Der Esch this offseason, ironically, we're talking Dak as well. So we'll go down this road. If you think about it, that Leighton Van Der Esch had a good offseason. But look at this. Dak, who's always started the season, the last 2 seasons injured, good offseason, hasn't been injured. Leighton Van Der Esch, good offseason, hasn't been injured. Malik Hooker hasn't been injured. And you got Tank as well, hasn't been injured.
That's what you want from your preseason.
Have you got a bit of wood you could touch, please? Could you just touch a wooden table or a lamp or something?
My desk is wooden.
Hey, I should run one more holiday more often then, if that's the case.
It's when you go to the games, it all goes wrong.
I feel sorry for,
really, Mike? Really?
I feel sorry for Brian on the post game show Tuesday because Mike's just jinxed it and watch. Not like I said, just say exactly. Watch Dak get injured, watch Zeke get injured, Smith get injured. Watch Mike Parsons get injured. And it's Mike's fault. It's Mike's fault. He jinxed it.
I'm used to it being my fault.
Yeah, Jamie, you just missed what Mike just said to me there. It's like it's my fault when I go to a Cowboys game we lose.
Yeah, to be fair, you should change your Twitter handle to Jonah when you're in Texas.
Oh, God.
But to the point that Jay brought up, like, yes, I am a huge advocate of if QB1 goes down, that's pretty much it for the season.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, that doesn't give you permission to just mail it in. And right now, the Cowboys only have one quarterback. Strictly speaking, they only have one quarterback. We've got these 2 guys sitting on the practice squad who anybody could pick up. Does it alarm any of you that nobody's going, well, what about Cooper Rush? Cooper Rush is not in anybody's conversation as far as I know.
No, like, I was genuinely surprised. If anything, I'm just more surprised that it was just the one quarterback that's just been listed out so far, and I'm just like, huh, okay, whatever.
Which makes me think that QB2 is not in the Cowboys organization right now.
See,
I don't know. Mike McCarthy has said it. He said Cooper Rush is our guy. He's come out and said it. But
that was my first thought, Graham, when the news came out of the kind of the cuts that they were going to bring in another quarterback. But
so here it is then, right, Jay? While you're talking, I'll ask you first. In terms of with Dak, and everyone at home answer this one too. Where do you foresee Dak? Now, last year, the Cowboys' offense was first in the NFL. Where do you see that this year? And where do you see Dak ranking this year? Let's say just like in yard ranking for now.
Can I sidestep it just a little bit in terms of not rankings? I think we'll see what Dak's made of more so now. What I mean by that is this is easily the poorest offensive line he will have played at since he became starter. You could probably say it's due to injuries as well to Gallagher that this is probably the weakest receiving core that he's had. Yeah. So let's see what he's made of now. You know, I mean, not that we didn't rely on him in the past, but now we need him to step up and be that leader and be that quarterback that we know he's going to be, because he's not got the high caliber of player that he's used to playing with. So let's see. I still think he's one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league. Yeah. But I think we'll really see that this year with how he's going to have to adapt to playing with a different patched up, still probably a patched up offensive line, and for the first few weeks probably a patched up receiving core as well.
I'm gonna hit out with it, and I think yourself, Jamie, and yourself are going to disagreement. I think regardless what our wide receiver core is right now, I think they're going to ball out. I don't know why. It's just a gut feeling, and I think Dak is actually going to have one of those years where he actually turned
an up,
What the way I'm trying to explain this is like your Turpins, the guys that just made the squad. They're going to have like one of these games, like one of those guys that will have like 100 yards a game type of thing, like out of nowhere, like depending who we played in. So with that being said, I think that will be in the top 5 conversation. I know it is a big thing to say, but I can't help but have this gut feeling about it because we have been very dead gloomy about this whole situation about the wide receivers and that. I think it will just turn it over and actually might surprise us. Who knows?
I'm with you. I'm with you. And there's a question at the end that ties in nicely with what you're saying there, Paul. But, Graham, let's say because we've seen it a little bit this year, Dak using his legs a bit more. So, you're going to have those not massive, but let's say 30-yard, 40-yard rush games, right? Which is perfect for Dak. That just totally changes the offense. How do you see at the end of the season Dak being racked in a quarterback rank? Saying the QBR ratings. I know it's not a be-all and end-all, but where would he rank at the end of the season, do you think?
I think Jamie's hit it on the head. I think it'll be top 10 and no more. Paul, I want to believe you. God, I really want to believe you. I really do. But for me, every unit except Dak and possibly the running back situation, every unit is arrow down.
It's depleted. It's depleted. So, I do agree with you on that. I do agree with you.
I can't see how that doesn't transfer to stats. There are so many ifs. How does CeeDee Lamb deal with double coverage? How fit is Michael Gallup? How well is Tolbert going to hit the ground running? How well is potentially 2 rookies going to hold up in the offensive line? Is Dalton Schultz going to have a 1,000-yard season that we all pray that he does? And I made the point on Tuesday's show. See, if Dalton Schultz has an injury somewhere, we are screwed at tight end.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so with that one. I do like Jake Ferguson. I like what he's been doing so far.
I'm with you, Paul. On
right,
that
I have to I'm sorry, Brad. I do disagree on that one, but Jake Ferguson, I have been from what I've seen so far, he has been quite a reliable source in preseason. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is, if it was Greer, if it was Rush. Can you imagine if it was Dak throwing the ball to him? That has potential. I will say that.
For me, he's a blocking tight end.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. But from what we've seen so far, he's been having really good distribution of catching the ball, getting the yards after contact. So he's been quite efficient that way. So we're actually seeing more of a Schultz role. Yeah. So we're having that hybrid. So
he's done enough in terms of blocking, if you like. I mean, let's stick with the tight end then, right, guys? So we've got Dalton Schultz, Jake Ferguson, Peyton Hendershot as well on the practice squad. Obviously, this is down to injury as well. You have Sean McEwen on there, on IR, Ian Bunting. So yeah, I mean, Peyton Hendershot is another guy. The only thing I worry with Hendershot is that it just looks like he needs to develop a little bit more to get the game to slow down.
I think give him time.
Give him time.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Like with Jake Ferguson, it's getting the gym. With Hendershot, it's learn the game a bit more.
I think this is a more of a question in regards to if we see a really good massive development either between Hendershot or Ferguson, that now puts Dalton Schultz in jeopardy for next year in terms of his contract. It puts pressure on him for sure. Well, either way, if Schultz balls out, but yet the other tight ends, but other teams are going to come in for Schultz regardless. We're not going to be able to compete up with that for the whatever. And we say, okay, we've got Ferguson, we've got Henderson, we'll do with them for next year,
Yeah, because I mean, think about this. right? And whether you agree with this or not, the tight end room right now is better right now than how it was at the end of the season.
No.
Interestingly, you said end of the season.
End of the season, yes.
The
how
tight
the team
end room
has
for me,
the tight end room has started this season is better than how it ended last season.
As much as I'm on the bandwagon of Jake Ferguson with Paul, I think it's the weakest position on the whole roster this year. It's just it doesn't excite me whatsoever.
I would say just slightly upgraded. Slightly.
I'd say it's upgraded.
But
will Schultz be on this team next year, do you think? Do you think the two guys behind them, and including Sean McEwen, will do enough to slide him out the building, do you think? Or do you think Schultz is going to have an absolute screamer this year and we'll have no choice but to sign him to a long-term deal next year?
I don't think it'll be our decision to sign him. I think it'll be up to Schultz will either want to test the market. It's up to him end of the day. So
yeah.
I don't think Schultz will be here next year. I think personally, I don't.
Well, what I will say is that they've got plenty of cap room to keep him around. If he does.
True.
The volume that Dalton Schultz will get this year will be a huge increase.
Yes.
Yeah.
But again, that's not going to bode well to signing him. You know, if he does get the 1,200 yards and 8-9 touchdowns, there will be a market for Schultz, and you know, whenever the Cowboys seem to compete to keep a ball skills player, it turns into a large deal to keep him around. And
see, that's the one thing that scares me is that he's on roughly 11 million this year.
I feel good.
He's not worth 11 million this season. And if he balls out this year, he's going to command a hell of a lot more than 10 million this year, and he's not an $11 million white tight end.
Based on the market, he is.
Yeah.
When you compare the other tight ends that are on a higher salary on them, who've done less than what Schultz has done for sure.
Definitely.
You know, so
they find less though, because really, if anything, last year was the only year you ever really earned.
David and Joko.
Oh yeah, true. But I mean, it's always one of that things. It seems with the Cowboys, and it gets to contract year, and then people ball out, and then they get the money, and then they just sit and go, "Well, screw it, I've got money."
And think about this as well, though, Jay. Think about this: how many games does Dalton Schultz miss?
True, but also how many games does he change?
I think, given the fact that Michael Gallup
stand out as if he was going to pick an MVP of the game, does he stand out at that higher?
Well, let's put it this way: Michael Gallup is. We'll get to the wide receiver in a moment, but he's not starting the season on PUP. He's active, so they think he's going to be around by week 2 or week 3. It's got to be less than week 4, otherwise they would have put him on PUP.
I know it says at the maximum it will be week 4, but the reckon will be there earlier than that.
Yeah, so they're feeling week 2 or week 3, but that means that when we've all been saying it all season, right? The wide receiver core, who's going to be the second wide receiver? Who's the second wide receiver? Well, the second wide receiver for week 1 is Dalton. Exactly, Gray. So, and that's what you're paying him to be.
I would argue he's going to be the second receiver for September.
I agree with you.
Minimum.
Him and Prescott will get into a rhythm.
See, this is the point I was trying to make. This is where
I'm with you.
Great comment from the Big Labarski. Like, this is exactly what I was saying. So Schultz will be gone, and Ferguson Henderson will be our Schultz and Jarwin next year.
Yeah,
that's if that's how things are. Like, it just really depends how the front office is going. It's more down to the front office more than anybody.
And let's not forget the X factor, the agent.
Oh yeah, well we can't forget that guy. So How many times? How many times has an agent completely screwed us over the cap? How many years? Hello.
I wonder.
That has to be
doing
one of
this
your
moment in
highlight
time.
clips you've done. You actually made me belly laugh. How can we forget that guy?
What do you reckon? Is that anybody wondering what Jason Witten's doing at this moment in time?
Yeah, enjoying himself, that's for sure. But all right, let's move to the running back position, right, guys? So it's Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard. We knew that was going to happen. The RB3 position was where we were very interested in as it started breaking through the preseason. Rico Dowdle actually cracked the spot. And to be honest with you, as I put in the writing, I actually thought Rico Dowdle did play well. And look at it last season. If he didn't get injured with that hip injury, I think he would have been on the roster last year. So really, he was just piling on the pressure from last year. But on the practice squad, we got Malik Davis, who made it. And we mentioned at the start of the show in the news and updates, Quadri Arlison as well. On IR was Aaron Shamklin from the injury he had in the last preseason game against the Seahawks. But here's a question for you guys, and we'll ask everybody at home, is after all of this, will Zeke finish as a top 10 running back this year?
Easy.
Right. So this is a complicated question. Like if you were to put them all the running backs in the league with no offensive line and just run down the hill and do all the skill sets, yes, but it all depends on your offensive line. I say that with every bit of my body right now, my broken body from coming back to Greece right now. What I mean by that is if you cannot get your running back going behind the line of scrimmage for your offensive line to make those gaps, what is you're not going to get those yards or those stats. You're going to have those negatives. So it really depends on how our O-line has just basically do their job. If they can't do their job, our running backs can't do their job. We can't have defensive ends or linebackers coming through A gaps or coming around the edge so easily and making the tackle. And everyone's saying, "Oh, that was rubbish. Our running backs are not doing so much." It's like if you really look at the film, look at how the offensive line doing it. So, if anything, I'm not that particularly worried with Zeke, Pollard, Dowdle. I'm happy with our running backs. I'm just more worried about how our O-line are going to provide for our running backs.
Do you know, just to flick on back on that, Paul? It's probably the one position I'm not worried about this year.
I'm not worried about it one bit whatsoever. Because everyone's healthy. That's another thing as well. We're not seeing any wear and tear. Like Zeke's been looking great during practice.
He's amazing.
He's looking great during scrimmage, right? But again, it just kind of go back to the point. If our O-line just cannot seem to make those gaps working and Zeke can actually hit the gap and actually make the sprint upfield, then it counts really for next to nothing, really.
Yeah.
And
I mean, what makes? I'm sorry, Paul. Keep going, mate.
I was just going to say, because I'm really dying to know what Graham thinks as well.
Yeah, well, here we go. And I'll throw Graham this question: if Zeke will be a top 10 running back this year, is you have to power in the fact Tony Pollard is going to command some snaps too, which is going to take some of that away. What do you think, Greg? Go on, hit us with it.
The right hand side of the line is the same as it was last year. It's the left hand side you've got to worry about. Does Tyler Smith have the bulk to play left tackle? Probably not.
Well, he is primarily. He did play the majority of his career playing left tackle, so I don't see it being.
But we brought him in to be a guard, though.
For 1 year, pretty much for 1 year. Then he's going to kick out when Tyron Smith retires, essentially. So
when he's bulked up, it's a valid question, Mike. For those 2 points that you raised, the line is not the same, and Tony Pollard will want his slice of the pie as well. I mean, if they want to if they want to swing the ball out to the right-hand side to Zeke 20 times a game, I would say probably.
Yeah.
Just because it's Zeke Elliott. And
I
like
think they're going to use him slightly differently as well. Just by how... Go on.
I don't think it's a lock. I will say that. I don't think it's a lock, but I think it will happen. I mean, you've also got to take Kellen Moore's play calling into
there you go
to thought as well, because
pass happy.
Well, exactly. I mean, how many times have we seen a first down inside the red zone, and you're thinking, right, okay, run the ball twice and throw it in third down? It's probably the other way around.
Yeah.
There's so many factors to.
As we said before, Gray, it's the Jason Garrett offense in reverse.
Yeah. As it's a thinker. I would probably is my answer.
And this is one you guys don't have to answer if you don't want to, but everyone at home, let us know how you think. How will Rico Dowdle be utilized this year? Is he spell running back only? Is he red zone, goal line plunge? How do you think they're going to use him? Let us know as we move on to the wide receivers. Be interesting really to see what people think. All right, so wide receiver guys. So this one is nice. I quite like this lineup at the moment. CD Lamb, Michael Gallup, Noah Brown, who's had a good camp. Kevontae Turpin, more special teams, but they will use him, as we've seen in the last game. Jalen Tolbert, Simi Fehoko, Dennis Houston, practice squad then. Ontario Drummond made it. Brandon Smith as well. On IR, James Washington. Any surprise? Well, there's plenty of surprises on the wide receiver core, given what happened. But any major surprises? Let's look at the main guys. I think the biggest surprise is where Noah Brown came from, but also Dennis Houston and also the development of Simi Fehoko. Anybody want to talk about that?
Simi Fehoko has had an absolute baller of a camp.
Yeah,
so I think
towards the end.
The question with that is where's he going to be on the depth chart?
On the depth chart, yeah.
Well, yeah, true, Jamie, but I'm just looking for the comparison to compared to last year, where he was. I don't know how he even did he even get any game time? Was he even actually just made
last year? No, he didn't.
He didn't even make the roster last year, did he?
No.
So
he was on the roster. He was just one of the inactives every week.
I wasn't all right. Okay.
One of the good things about him as well is that he's kind of not come out of nowhere towards the end of camp. Like literally from day one, it's been Simi Fehoko. Like pretty much every day, it's always been like there's always been something about him to say that he's really impressed, and it's nice to see him being picked up for that rather than it's like first week, he's done this really well, and all of a sudden week 3-4 of the preseason kind of the training camp part of preseason comes on, and it's like, well, where's he gone? Where's he disappeared to? And then it's like, is he going to make the roster? It's like he's literally. You could in some ways, it sounded like it was pretty much nailed on to be on the roster, just as much as CD Lamb would be in some ways, just for the way that he balled out this offseason, and it would have probably been a stupid thing for the Cowboys to let him go and risk trying to get him on the practice squad for a year.
Okay. All right, then. So let me ask all you guys, what's your predictions this year for CD Lamb? Everybody at home, let us know too. Do you think he's going to be a top 5 wide receiver, target heavy, reception heavy? He is a yak daddy. So you think what that's going to do in terms of a heavy amount of targets? Do you think they're going to target him a lot? Or do you think it's just going to be kind of like how it has been in the past?
I think you've got no choice, haven't you? You've got no choice. You get rid of who was your number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah,
you've got no choice. And to be fair, with a lot of the inexperience on the roster until Gallup comes back, you've got no choice but to target him. And to be fair, it'd be nice to finally see us do what we should have been doing a long time. Like, he's your number one receiver. Throw it up and let him make plays. He made plenty of plays at Oklahoma. Let him make plays in the NFL. Look at how much the Vikings trusted Justin Jefferson. That's what you want.
Graham, go on. I can see Richard to go.
I had the same flashback on Tuesday night. What a difference 12 months makes.
True.
You know, we had our stud route runner as number one. We had our big catch, big play guy as number two, and we had CeeDee Lamb causing havoc in the slot. Now all of a sudden it's right, CeeDee. It's your time whether you like it or not. Yeah. Michael, we'll see Michael in October, but it's your time now. I mean, thank goodness that Michael Gallup is ahead of schedule, because that wasn't the understanding on Tuesday. Well, yeah. And I raised the point. I asked the guys, how many healthy receivers do the Cowboys have that have caught a touchdown pass? And the answer was one.
One, yeah.
So if Michael Gallup comes in early, makes the situation a whole lot easier. I mean, I don't know. Are we set with CeeDee Lamb being number one? I mean, if Michael Gallup continues, surely Michael Gallup has more experience. But again, I would say that Lamb has more abilities.
We've seen Gallup as a one as well, though, haven't we?
Against the Patriots, yeah.
When Amari's been just quiet.
Have we seen Lamb as a number one, though?
You've seen the number one wide receiver on this offense for 2 years with Amari Cooper there.
Stats-wise.
Yeah.
But there's nobody else drawing double coverage anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the Patriots game was probably the best example of that.
True. Yeah. All right, then. Here's my next one then for everybody. How many touchdowns do you predict Jalen Tolbert will catch by the end of the year? Oh, I had 6, Paul. Go on. What are you going for, Jamie? You going for a deuce?
Mm-hmm.
Graham's going to be the more thinking one on this one. He does like to think. Just in case you're wondering, that's not wind. He's thinking.
I would say that Tolbert is more likely to be a red zone type of player. So I'm going to side with you two at the top, and I'm going to go slightly higher, and I will say, do you know what? I'll say 6 as well. The yards maybe don't stack up, but he will be an effective presence, I think. You know, maybe maybe something daft like 500 yards, but 6 touchdowns. That doesn't really equate. But
for fantasy football, he'll be like a stud pretty much when you put it like that.
Yeah. Okay. All right, then. Let's move to the offensive tackle then, right, guys? We'll move to the offensive line. I was going to leave everyone with one more question, but we'll move on to it. So offensive tackle is Tyler Smith, Terrence Steele, Matt Waletzko, Josh Ball, and on the practice squad, Avonte Collins, on IR, Tyron Smith. And then obviously we have the new Canadian guy coming in. All right, Graham, hit me with it. Offensive tackle, final thoughts on that one. I know you spoke at length on Tuesday, so give me your final take, your final wrap-up on this.
If I was to put it into a sentence or a statement, it would have to be make do with what you've got. I mean, I have been critical, but the plan was not to play Connor McGovern. It's simply just what's happened.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that he's the next man up, but them's the breaks, as they say. The plan was always to play Tyron at left tackle, let Smith grow. If you have to put Smith out, you have to put Tyler out to tackle for the time that Tyron went down. Fine, he would get a little bit of game experience. I still think it's a big ask. It's a big ask. You know, you just hope that Terence Steele keeps becoming better and better and better, because see if he doesn't, see if he regresses and we start to miss Landon Collins, we're in serious trouble. It's another if. It's another if, and I think that's what's causing Cowboys Nation, or me in particular, so much anxiety, because we just don't know. We just don't know. We say all the time, the draft is a lottery. Tyler Smith could have a garbage season. He could have a offensive rookie of the year season. We simply don't know, but he's certainly been put in the position to have a good season. I'm sure he would like somebody better than Connor McGovern on his right-hand side. I'm sure he would like something better than Tyler Biadasz setting the assignments.
He's just going for it, and he's like pulling the trigger.
You know, Jay, just there's only so much.
Oh yeah,
you should sound like a broken record. I really do sound like a broken record, but like I talked about I know I'm keep going back to old ground, but we talked about the Lamb pick on Tuesday night. Great pick, but you know, you saw. They can't claim they didn't see this coming.
Yeah, agree.
They can't.
It's predictable.
It was always on the cards. It was always on the cards. Yeah.
But you know, Lauren, like I'll bring it up again. Lauren made the point that in the salary cap area, you can't have starting caliber players in every single position because the cap simply won't allow you to. Maybe that is the Cowboys' project. Maybe they do need to elevate one part of the team, and it just so happens that this year they have to elevate the offensive line. Lauren made the point that it would be nice if it was somebody a bit better than Phil been doing it. There are other offensive line coaches out there, and you mentioned
yeah, so for our Spotify listeners and stuff like that, our good friend Lloyd Wheeler, big shout out to Lloyd, just said that he's been a season ticket holder for 31 years and he feels the exact same way since 1995.
I'm not gonna beat that.
No.
How am I meant to top that? But yeah, I mean,
you top that by going to Lambeau and watching who play QB for the Cowboys. There you go.
I just hope I don't have to buy one of those brown paper bags
with the face on
and put it over my head.
All right,
from the middle of October.
This one for everyone at home, Jamie and Paul. This one will make Graham laugh. Will the O-line improve on the penalty count this year?
Next question.
No, it's we do need to address that.
Yeah,
and this is something that I think you guys spoke about as well, and it's down to the coaching side of things.
There you go. That's where I was going with this.
Personally, no, probably not under Joe Philbin. I don't
get ready for it. Like
define improve.
Have less.
That might sound like a stupid question, but I mean, improve on what? Less flags.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, less flags, less holding calls, less
false starts.
Yeah, like all that, like the basics, pretty much.
The holding calls, I will always be a bit.
That can be like depending on the referee.
Exactly, but the false starts, the offsides, not knowing your assignments, like this is where it goes wrong, and that's where I'm talking.
I don't think we will. I think just more so just because it's kind of feels like a bit of a patched up O-line again.
Yeah.
Just with time going down. So I think there's been a lot of jigging around. Like you said, obviously everyone assumed that Tyler Smith was going to start left guard and he's having to be kicked side to cover in the meantime. So I think just because of that, I don't think we'll see an improvement on it.
Yeah. All right. I'm with you on that one. And what we'll do is I will leave this question for everybody. You guys can answer it if you want. Will Tyler Smith get it done at left tackle? Will he be the guy? So let us know in the answers. But go on, Paul, hit me with it, and then I'll move on to the inside.
Straight to the point. He's going to have to, regardless. Like he's going to have to. Like he's been basically thrown into the lines. Then essentially, like we knew Tyron was going to be injured at some point. We did not expect it to be before even the season starts.
Yeah,
and it's just like so now Tyler's now had to pretty much double up his workload.
Yeah,
and still to go out there and perform. That's a lot to take on for a rookie, especially as an offensive lineman. So the expectation is high on him. We all agree on that, but he has no choice. Like if he fails, people are going to say, "Oh, he's a bust." But I think that's going to be an unfair characteristic on him because he's having to do two jobs at once, pretty much. Like he's been given an unrealistic set of goals to kind of match up because our O-line has been that depleted for the past couple of years. And yeah, so the only thing I can probably say is if we do bring in Jason Peters, it might take. You can say what you want about Jason Peters, how old he is. He can still do a job. Right?
has a Super Bowl ring.
We'll forget who he's won that for, though. We can screw that. Right? We can forget that. But he can still deliver. Like, don't forget, he's got more, like 9 years more experience than Tyron Smith has in the NFL as well.
Mm-hmm.
So he can probably add more to Tyler Smith's game. Like give him some pointers to what to do in off season or whatever, and that if we do sign him, because experience is key. It really is. I mean, take Andrew Whitworth, right? Perfect example. Like he was 40 years old and he won the Super Bowl with the Rams. And that's him playing it, playing whatever. We have we have got nothing else to lose. But if we do sign, if anything, I know it sounds daft to say this, but it generally does help us. And we're saying that, but we're signing a 40-year-old, but it does come with the experience and does know how to win ball games, and he's proven he's going to be a future Hall of Famer. So, like what you will, you can mock the idea of we're signing an old guy or whatever and that, but the knowledge you can bring to a young gun like Tyler, to have that controlled aggression and whatever and that, help him reduce those penalties, that will make a big difference to him in his game.
When we just mentioned the Cowboys have the second youngest roster in the league.
Yeah,
That should be one of the terms of the deal if we sign Peters, that to prove that he's all over the Cowboys, that he has to throw his ring in the trash.
Right, we'll just quickly move on to the inside offensive lineman, and then we'll move to the defensive side. On the inside, we got Zach Martin, Connor McGovern, practice squad, Isaac Alarcon, who's on the international pathway program, so he doesn't count towards the maximum. Tyler Biadasz, Matt Farniok, and on the practice squad there, Alec Lindstrom. Bear in mind, Matt Farniok is going to be your inside swing guy. But here's a question for you. Will Zach Martin make the Pro Bowl this year?
Just by popularity contest, I think.
I think that's really all it is nowadays.
He's made the Pro Bowl so much time. He's there. He's invited by default, pretty much now. And again, this Zach Martin deserves to be in the Pro Bowl regardless. He's been consistent every year. Without a doubt, And big little basket.
Not named Micah Parsons. He's the best player on the squad. Yeah.
Agreed. I totally agree. The thing is that he's had to kind of double up in jobs as well. He's had to shift. He's had to shift out to right tackle, but he's been and this is what I love about Snapper. And people might criticize him for it, but I like the fact that he is sticking to his guns and saying, "Do not play me left guard. Do not play me left tackle. Do not play me center. Do not play me right tackle. I am a right guard. That's what that's what I'm designed to do, and that's what the best you're going to get me playing that position. If you put me else somewhere else, you're going to get 50% of what I'm capable of doing." Yeah. And this is one thing, and this is now kind of I'm going to slightly shift this across. See, when we're talking like Conor McGovern, you're getting 20. If you're playing him in nearly every position in the offensive line, you're only getting 20% of that player.
Agree.
It makes no sense.
No consistency.
Exactly.
Yeah. But do you guys want to weigh in and let us know at home? Will Zach Martin make the Pro Bowl? What do you reckon, Graham, Jay?
Yeah. Without a doubt.
Graham?
Again, it's a popularity contest, but his talent means he should. But you just wonder, I think a lot of the Pro Bowl voting comes down to the seasonal record. Who's doing well? Who plays that position? Right, we'll vote for them. I mean, nobody's voting for the Detroit Lions right guard. Do you get what I mean? He might be the best player on that offense, but nobody's voting for him because of the record.
Yeah.
It's popularity, but his talent should send him to the Pro Bowl.
Yeah. All right. So let's look at the defensive line then, guys. So we got DeMarcus Lawrence, Don Armstrong, Sam Williams, Dante Fowler, Chauncey Golston, Jamie. Tyrell Basham did make it on the practice squad for the defensive ends. Micah Tawafua made it. Defense is sticking to the inside defensive line, guys. Then Osa Odigizua, Neville Gallimore, Tristan Hill made it. But it's a big surprise. Quentin Bahana and John Ridgway both made it. Practice squad, Carlos Watkins. For me, the big surprise is Quentin Bahana, but that's more of a testament to how much. Well, he was kind of do you know what I mean? We practically drafted his carbon copy in John Ridgway. He was a little bit more athletic than Bahana, but I think from what he was last year to what he is this year, he's improved.
We may be in a different scenario. See if it's red zone. You're double up your big guys for the inside line. You might want to put both Ridgway and Boano in to fill up those gaps. Who knows?
If you're leaking.
Yep. Yeah, so that's
sure.
I think there's multiple scenarios where Adam Dudley and Dan Quinn are thinking about this one in terms of what if this scenario and this scenario would be best to have these different types of players.
Yeah. So Graham,
sorry, before we move on to the question,
yeah, sure.
Does anybody think it's my calculation has us with 11 defensive linemen, not including Micah Parsons?
Yeah.
Does that number sound a bit high for 4 positions?
The only thing I would say is they did, if you look in preseason, they went very run defense heavy. You could see that that's what they're trying to do, and I think that's what this is about.
And don't forget, some of those guys, the defensive ends especially, they will play a part in special teams as well.
Yeah. Chauncey Golston.
Yep. So
Tristan Hill.
Maybe Tristan Hill, maybe. I don't know,
I think so. He's got good burst. He's good off the line.
But,
do you know what I mean?
It depends.
Hit me with this question then. Not named Parsons. Who's going to be the guy who gets the most sacks?
Well, automatically you would think D-Law. Automatically.
I don't know.
I am not saying that. You would assume that because I know Graham's laughing because he is the biggest D-Law critic out there. So
yeah,
and he's not afraid to admit it. Look how red he's going right now, ladies and gentlemen. No, I'm gonna go for You know what? I'm going to go for my boy, Neville Gallimore. I'm going to go for my boy, Neville Gallimore. Contract year. He's going to have to, it needs to step up.
He really needs to. Yeah, he needs to prove himself for sure.
But I think the other obvious answer, and I think you guys will probably might think this, is people would might to say Sam Williams, but will he be that starter on the other side of the D line? I don't think he will. I think he'll get more game time as the season progresses, but I don't think he'll get as much sacks people would anticipate.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Jay? Who's going to be your sack leader, not named Parsons?
I kind of answer it and kind of swing sideways a little bit just to see what you think as well. As the position group, so that front that defensive line, the Cowboys' defensive line will have the most sacks for that position group in the NFL this year.
Oh.
That's a good question.
Oh.
I like that one, Jamie. I like that one.
Yeah.
So you're saying Cowboys' defensive line will have the most out of the whole defensive lines?
Yeah. So the Cowboys,
I'll take that. I'll definitely
the inside guys is what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, I'll
as a whole across. So the defensive ends and the inside guys, those two positions will have the most sacks.
I think
the defensive line in the league this year.
I might know. I might not. In fact, actually, I might not necessarily go with sacks, but I will definitely go for tackles for loss for the run defense. Yep, definitely.
Well, that leads me to this question for everybody: who's going to have the better season out of these three guys? This includes the whole plethora of it all. So let's go with sacks, tackles for losses, and run defense.
Sam Williams.
Yeah,
Sam Williams.
I'm going for
interesting that nobody said Dorrance Armstrong.
I'm with you. Yeah, I know.
I just said it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going. He's
I just think just Fowler's probably more of a depth kind of signing, and just with Sam Williams being a rookie, and I'm basing this on last season. Look how the Cowboys, in a good way, nurtured some of the young defensive linemen last year, and kind of, rather than just forcing him in there, I think they'll do the same with Sam Williams. I think they'll let him kind of find his feet and put him in certain situations. So you won't probably see the stats he was probably hoping for, but more so just to help him develop more and not push him faster than they need to.
See, this is that you just mentioned the word what I was looking for there, Jamie. Development, right? So everyone knows I'm a big critic of the whole second round pick on Sam Williams. It should have been our third round pick. I don't know how people feel, but I just thought it was a bit of a stretch to get him in the second. But with that being said, he is proven to me. I'm starting to eat some humble pie quite recently, because he is starting to show he's not just a one-trick pony. Like, he has an incredible bull rush ability. He can force an offensive tackle yards behind the line of scrimmage, right? And he can actually get in the outside quite quickly. He's got the good line speed, but in terms of his lateral speed, it is getting improved. But this is where, when you're going up against a more established offensive line, I don't know, I'm just trying to think of an example, or the better old lines out there. Like, but the Colts, for example, when you're up against, like, say, Quentin Nelson, the inside, and stuff like that, like, that's a good offensive line unit for the Colts. That'll be a good test. But can we see Sam Williams beating all these other, like 16, 17 games, whatever? I can't lost count of how many games we've got a season now. Right? But do we really expect Sam Williams to kind of get every type of snap out there? Because we know what Dan Quinn's like. He likes to rotate.
Yes,
he likes to rotate the line. I don't see Sam Williams getting, like, I'm seeing some of the comments, we might get 7 sacks for Sam Williams and stuff like that. I don't really see it's going to be that high. I would say 4 maximum. But I think, like, your Fowler, who's got the more game experience, he's got the speed as well. and he can actually kind of like move into the B gap a lot
You've
more
seen him
effectively.
do it.
And we see him do it during that preseason games. He looked sharp.
And here's a good point, right? Like, because we spoke about this with BJ Next a few weeks ago when we had him on, and we were talking about the Fowler situation. And I think the first game is going to be telling. The Bucks game is going to be where we find out who's going to be that guy who's going to have that season. And I just think that they've kept Fowler back. Like, you think about it, they haven't really used him much at all. But I just think that they've stashed him and they've hidden him away because they don't want to show what they're going to do with him. Like, like that hidden away, tucked away player. And then all of a sudden the season's going to come out and then we'll find out what they're going to do there. It'd be very interesting. But let us know in the comments.
Yeah, so everyone's in the comments. Everyone's kind of agreeing that they'll think it'll be Sam Williams pretty much. Labarsky's saying Sam Williams. I think the rotation will benefit him, keep him fresh with the speed and power. Sure, I agree.
Yeah. With the
rookie.
Agree.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, he is a rookie. We can't expect him to be a pure starter from like being whatever. So
yeah,
because he is raw. He is pure raw. So Lloyd, our good friend Lloyd, saying, "Yep, Sam Williams before the draft, he will be a beast. He will be a beast just in time, I think." And obviously Joe from Italy, Bonacera, says he will believe he have 7 sacks. So I think there's a good group leaning towards Sam Williams, but we didn't really mention much about Armstrong, though.
Yeah, according to ESPN, he recorded 5 sacks last year.
Huh?
Yeah.
Well, look at that.
Yeah, that surprised me. That surprised me. Yeah.
I'm actually lost for words.
Well, I mean, yeah, he was, but like he comes in flashes, doesn't he, Armstrong?
That's the thing, though. That's the thing. Like during training camp, he looks like this is the guy. Like Jerry bigs him up, but when it comes to him going into the actual game, he's like
breaks your heart.
He's like, huh? Where are
he just
you?
breaks your heart, doesn't he?
He just goes away.
Yeah.
But I was surprised that he had 5 sacks, but he did. That last season was his best season, but I didn't expect it to be that much of an impact with 5 sacks.
Yeah.
DeMarcus Lawrence only got 3 written off. Just saying.
Oh, there it is. There it is.
Wow.
We've had this discussion. 17 minutes. He's a right defender. Move on.
Oh,
yeah. Let's move on.
Sorry, folks.
Let's move on to the linebacker core then, which was at one point, like for me, I was very nervous about this. Now with the addition of Anthony Barr, feeling a little better. So it's Micah Parsons, LVE, Anthony Barr, Jabril Cox, who's looking rearing to go, Luke Gifford, Devin Harper made the cut, Malik Jefferson. Then on IR, we have Damon Clark, who's NFI. Which is quite important. Devontae Bond as well, who's pretty much done as well. But how, especially with LV having a healthy offseason and the addition of Anthony Barr, how are we all feeling about the linebacker core, especially between now and when we started the preseason, how we feel about it?
In comparison to last year, I'm actually happier.
Happier? Yeah.
Like I'm happy that Jabril Cox is back for start. Parsons is going into year 2 with a lot more experience. And I think, and that kind of, just to answer your question, I think he will improve from last year. Maybe not so much on statistics, but just in his overall as a player. Like I want to take the whole statistic part, but the PFF, the stats, I want to get them shot out the window. Get that out the window right now. As a player, he'll be 10 times better, tenfold. You get the idea. Then, obviously, we've got LVE back. There's no injuries with him. We've got Anthony Barr coming in, who can probably contribute. Like you said, we had the discussion earlier. He's not. We're not going to get him in his prime. He's past his prime, but he's still going to contribute. So,
He'll have effective
Yeah.
snaps.
He will be effective, and just depends. Like it's the same with like what Dan Quinn has done with so many players before. Players that
Yeah, there's a good
like,
point. Yeah,
like Dan Quinn's turned players that no one that have kind of lost their drive and somehow come back. Like what's his name? Chaos, Jalen Chaos, prime example.
there you go.
Yeah,
You know, like when we signed him back last year, there was like, it's just a squad filler. We had no idea the impact that Chaos was going to do to the Cowboys last season. This could be another Dan Quinn special. Who knows?
Yeah, I would go as far as to say that the linebacker core is the biggest improvement on last year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only like the addition of Anthony Barr, but you would hope that everybody gets better. You've got Jabril Cox back. You've got Van Der Bresch for $3 million less than you were going to pay for him.
Yeah,
so that's more value for contract anyway. So you would just hope just natural progression. It's a young group. Why wouldn't it improve? So yeah, that's probably one of the brightest lights.
I don't forget as well. Who was the LSU linebacker we drafted in the 5th round?
Damon Clark.
Damon Clark. Even though he's an IR, but when he returns for like, if you can make it by end of the season, he just adds more squad depth to that. But also going forward into the future, he's a guy that could have easily went up to the 2nd rounds in the draft. That wasn't for the injury.
Yeah,
like this guy, like if Damon Clark is all fit and healthy by good to go, we've got a player in our hands here.
Yeah. So basically, you're replacing Anthony Barr with Damon Clark,
or might
in terms of depth. You know,
and I wouldn't say in terms of depth. I'll just just even through rotation, whatever. So
that's what I mean. Yeah. But here's a good one for you, because you're talking that question. I know, because he's a UK Cowboys favorite year. How about this question? Will Jabril Cox be the next best linebacker in the depth chart? So
the
obviously,
right. I see how you did that. Right. Okay. Right.
They always say, read the question, Paul.
I think he is already.
Yeah.
And only because I've never been a fan of Van Der Esch.
Come on.
Yeah.
And
you saw
and just because what Anthony Barr are we getting? So that's why I think Jabril Cox is probably the best linebacker after Micah Parsons on this roster.
I'm gonna be a big defender for LVE in this one. And I'm not. Well, I am gonna have a swipe at another player, to be honest. But when you're trying to cover up for 2 positions because your counterpart linebacker decides to run off to the hills and hits the wrong gaps, what else are you supposed to? It also makes you look bad as well.
Yeah.
But we noticed the difference of last season with LVE. Yeah, so we saw LVE, we're not making much headlines about him, about him making missed tackles. That he was actually very productive. He was sticking to his gap assignments. He was stopping the run. He was doing well in coverage. Man, I'm putting LVT to number 2 right now, as of right now. But that will be subject to change, depending if Cox steps up.
Yeah.
I would also say don't sleep on Anthony Barr.
Yeah.
Last season's stats: 3 interceptions, 2.5 sacks, 72 total tackles, and he played 11 games.
Yeah.
Now he's not
to be sniffed at.
He's not the first round pick that Minnesota drafted, but
agree.
Don't write him off.
Yeah,
100%. And we talked about having the 2 big guys, Quentin Bahana and John Ridgway, on the roster. Maybe that's put in there to cover themselves to help Leighton Van Der Esch, Anthony Barr.
Well, possibly. I'm just thinking goal line situations here.
Exactly.
You might want to double stack your 2 defensive tackles in the 2 1-tech positions.
Yeah. And it just keeps your linebackers clean for coverage then in the tight box. Yeah, totally with you on that one. All right, let's move to the defensive back position. So we got Trayvon Diggs, Anthony Brown, Jordan Lewis, Deron Bland, made the cut, Calvin Joseph, Nashon Wright, on IR, Isaac Taylor-Stewart. On the safety side, Jaron Kearse, Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson, Israel Mukwamu, Marquise Bell. And on the practice squad, Juanye Thomas and Tyler Coyle, which I was quite happy to see back there. Any surprises for anyone?
Kelvin Joseph made the squad, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
I didn't think he had a good preseason at all.
Nope, not at all.
I know that there's the whole outside drama and stuff like that, but that will affect your football game. And clearly, I don't know. I can't speak for Kelvin Joseph, but but you can tell on the football,
something's going on.
He's not fully concentrated. The fact is, he got absolutely destroyed by TJ Fashion week 1.
Yeah,
that incredible. That was an incredible play, and obviously Fashion got cut last week there. But I was genuinely surprised. But one thing I'm really happy about, and I knew this was going to happen, is Marquise Bell. He should never have went undrafted. No. And how the hell did we pick him up undrafted? I still do not know. This guy should have went in the 6th or 5th round.
Yeah. I mean, put it this way, right? And I you're talking about Calvin Joseph, and I had this year, and everyone answer at home. Where does Joseph rank on the depth chart? When you look at it, you got Trayvon Diggs, Anthony Brown, Jordan Lewis, Deron Bland, Kelvin Joseph, Nashon Wright. Now, for me, I have Nashon Wright above Kelvin Joseph. So that means our second round pick amongst 6 cornerbacks is 6.
I'm with Paul, 5th.
It certainly looks like a dud pick right now.
Yeah, right now.
Yeah. It's
how long do you give him? How much of a leash? How much time are we giving him? This season and then that's it?
Half a season. Half a season.
It's hard to kind of work because then you could also kind of look at it as in how long's Tristan a lad? And be like, well, if you're giving Tristan all this time, do you give Calvin and Joseph the same amount of time?
Because I suppose Joseph, Jamie, go on.
Just in terms of what it was supposed to be, what the Cowboys thought it was going to be when they drafted him, and more so than to save face to be like, do you know what, we like Graham said, dud pick, because then you're going to face the heat from the media, then are you?
True. Yeah, I mean, because what I was going to say as well with Joseph is he provides you some special teams snaps as well, which he did. So
he hasn't. I'll be honest though, he hasn't really took much participation within special teams. Bones has his guys really. I don't see. I'm kind of confused with the whole Kelvin Joseph situation.
It's an awkward one.
Yeah, I know obviously things what outside of football, it's kind of been pushed aside and stuff like that. But just, I really was kind of thinking he might actually get cut because he wasn't really just generally was not performing well. Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
But use the question while you're talking, Paul. Is Diggs going to be the interception leader again this season?
I'm going to say no.
Due to fear?
No, I'm just going to. It's all about interception leader within the team.
League.
Oh.
No, not in the league.
No, not in the league. No.
I would say in the team though.
Yeah.
I would say in the team. I don't think anybody. There are
7-8 interceptions.
I don't know, man. I think Brown might actually step up again.
Brown has looked good,
but I think Diggs is. You've got to be. I mean, I think they've got to be fairly aggressive. And Dan Quinn's system, they've got to be fairly aggressive to go and get interceptions. And I don't see Brown doing that, being over the top. I mean, Diggs will get beat, but he gets the interceptions because he takes the risk. I think Anthony Brown just makes the tackle. He defends the catch and makes the tackle. I don't see him going after the interception as much as Diggs. I think Brown just does the straightforward, normal, defense of the ball. I think, I don't remember Brown being burned as much as Diggs because Brown kept it basic. He did his job.
Stayed in phase.
Diggs would go after the ball, but he did get burned a couple of times.
Yeah. Because obviously,
do you think quarterbacks could be reluctant? Do you think quarterbacks could be reluctant to throw?
That's what I was thinking. See, are they going to not want to go that way? It's an interesting one, for sure. But here's one because of how his season, or I should say, preseason finished. Will Mukuamu have a good year this year? Is he going to be utilized a lot more? Is he going to flash? Are we going to see some good play from Mukuamu this year? I mean, he's on back-to-back interception games.
It's a tough one.
I think you've got to go a year, ain't you? Just for the positivity of, like you say, that he's had a decent preseason, and with someone like him, the only way he's up really, isn't it? If he starts having a bit of a poor one, then he's going to be out the door quicker than some of the others. So that's hopefully the driving force to keep him on that consistent rise that we've seen the last few weeks of the preseason.
All right, then. Right, well, let's look at the special teams, and then I will round things off. We've got punter Brian Anger, long snapper Jake McQuaid, special teams ace CJ Goodwin, who also doubles up as a cornerback, but we're never going to see him there. And on the practice squad, we've got Brett Maher. So here's a question for you. That's it.
Well,
on, Graham.
I remember very, very well saying that Brett Maher is the type of kicker that would nail the 50-yarder but miss the extra point. And you can't win a Super Bowl with that.
Yeah.
You simply can't do it because 2 points could be the 1 point, 2 points could be the absolute difference between a win and a loss. I mean, I get that, they're keeping guys around and they're keeping guys in the building, but we kick off the season in 9 days. It would be nice to have our kicker right about now.
Yeah, that would be
I think
handy.
we're the only team in the league without a kicker.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. They're cutting that a little bit fine. I mean, I get it's only kicking a ball through the uprights, but you still need timing with your snapper and your whoever the backup quarterback holder is going to be.
Ring. We've got Jeff Heath on the phone.
You know what's
be a bad
happened,
thing. We'll get him on here to talk to us.
Yeah, he's just
Fancy coming back and playing kicker?
Yeah.
He's just on the roster to say we've got a kicker, but the Cowboys are going to go for 2 every touchdown this season. And every fourth down. I say not every fourth down, you know what I mean? Yeah, going to go for it on fourth down.
That'd be very aggressive if that was the case, though.
It'd be great, though, wouldn't it? Just to completely go outside the norm in a minute.
Oh, yeah. Just take kickers out of the equation completely.
All right, then. Here we go. Let's go for some season questions for everyone to finish off on, and then we'll wrap the show up. So what's the Cowboys win total going to be this year, then? What do you reckon it's going to be?
Right. Originally, I said 11-6.
Everyone at home as well, by the way. Answer. Go on, Paul.
Originally, I said 11-6.
Mm-hmm.
Based on who was all fit, etc., and who we're up against. I'm now inclined because of the wide receiver status and the offensive line status. That just those 2 reasons alone, I think we're going to be like a 10-7.
10 win
at best. 10-7.
Graham. Oh, go on. Go on, Graham. What's your win total? Jamie? Let Graham have a thing.
I had 10 wins, and
10 wins.
and with how this off season's kind of gone, 10 wins could be a positive.
Well, it's still a winning record, but is that enough to win the division?
With how poor the division is, probably. But I think
it'll at
10
least get a
wins,
wild card. I think
it could well be less than 10.
Sorry, just for our audio only listeners, Labasti just made the comment, says Graham's going to say 2 and 15.
He did have a 2-win face looking as well. He was going single digits.
I reckon Labasti is actually Graham commenting on the side. He's like,
no.
Yeah, it's fine.
No, what's going to happen now after Lavasti's comment? Graham's going to come and says, bugger it, 17-0. Why not?
15-2. 15-2. Look how wrong you were. Go on, Gray.
I'm gonna try and keep the head on the shoulders, and I'm gonna say 9-8.
9-8, okay.
But I think it's still enough to win the division.
Yeah,
it will go down to the wire, but I still think we'll win the division. I mean, everybody in the I've brought up the point on the Facebook group, and I think I'll bring it up again just after tonight's discussion. See if the Eagles can figure themselves out at quarterback. Yeah. I think it's going to be close because they have a better offensive line than us. They have a better receiver core than us. They get things done at running back, and their tight ends, Dallas Goedert's okay as well.
Yep.
Here's my answer.
Yep. So Lloyd,
I would say we're going to be 9-8. The Eagles will probably be 8-9.
And my answer
still win the division.
My answer will always be 17-0.
Like so.
Mike, we could start the season 0-2 very, very easily.
Like, yeah. I just want to kind of bring up Joe. I know we might sound a little bit not like we're trying to be realistic of what we have right in front of us right now. We don't want to kind of set ourselves up for disaster.
These lot will be realistic, and I'll just be silly. I always say it's pointless always asking me.
Look, I don't want to be misunderstood. Like I still think we're going to have a decent season, but it wouldn't be a very good podcast if the four of us jumped on and said everything's rosy. We have 12 Pro Bowlers this year, and we're going straight to the playoffs. End of show. It wouldn't be a great discussion. We've got to go with the rough and the good and the bad. I still think we'll win the division. Yeah,
because we need to give actual proper constructive criticism when it really is needed. So like we're gonna have, there's gonna be days where we're gonna sound pure dead and grumpy and but
just watch the post game shows.
But thanks again, Joe, for the comments, man. You're just one of our best, one of the MVPs of our show, man.
One of the Yukis. But here's one for you. Thanksgiving predictions. That's against the Giants this year. We've gone on a little run of losing on Thanksgiving Day. Do you think we're going to win it this year?
Giants? Oh, yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It's the Giants.
That's going to be one of Graham's 2 wins.
The Giants.
I go on about our offense. Giants offense is woeful.
Yeah. You want to talk about predictions? What's the Giants predictions going to be?
3 wins.
Giants, I would go
4 wins. 4 wins.
I'm going to go. I'll say 5-12.
4 wins. In fact, I know Andy from UK Giants. Andy from UK Giants watches this show, so I'm going to say.
Oh, sorry, Andy, but I'm sorry, but
I mean that Kenny Golladay deal. Wow, I know. That could be the worst free agent signing.
No touchdown. Yeah.
I said that from day one.
Okay, who's been for you guys the most improved player this year from what it was last year to now? I'm gonna go Anthony Brown.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Sammy Fahoko.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. But and you've seen it, but game by game too.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's a good one. Go on, Jamie. What are you going with?
Paul nicked it. I don't, and this is no disrespect to anybody else on the roster, but we
fastest fingers first, Jay.
You've literally pretty much heard something positive of Semifoko from day one to now, like literally every single day of preseason, of training camp. And that's not disrespect to anybody else. It's just, how can you not say a guy's the most improved when you've literally heard something positive every single day?
Yeah. Graham, who's been the most improved player? Let us know at home. We've seen Mukwamu come up there and Fahoko.
Graham,
who's going to be the most improved?
No, who has been so far? Who's been the most improved from how the season ended, or could be a rookie? What you've seen and progressed through the preseason up until now?
I mean, he's not my favourite, but Hill's had a good preseason.
Yeah.
I'm actually
well done, Gray.
I'm actually we haven't talked that much about Tristan Hill, to be honest, because we thought he would be one of the guys getting cut, but he's stepped up.
He's like Dorrance Armstrong.
Tooth and nail.
You don't want to get too excited about him because he could be another Dorrance Armstrong. You know, you see him all in
again,
like a firework and fizzles out.
See, here's the thing. Like last season, he did look good during the season before he got the injury. He did like. I mean, it's like that double knife-edged sword. You just don't know what to expect right now. Because
and with Tristan Hill, that's for sure.
Yes, like I hope he balls out. We want every guy on our team to ball out. We really do.
Of course.
So,
all right.
So
we got two more. We got two more while you're talking.
Okay.
Surprise player. So last year, Jaron Curse was our surprise player. Just that guy who came out of nowhere, exploded out of the gate. Who is that? Who's the Jaron Curse of this year? Go on.
Me. Marquise Bell.
Oh, okay. I see where you're going there. Yeah.
Bell. Hands down.
The Rattler. Okay. Graham?
D-Law.
And I'm going to say this now, and I'm surprised you didn't mention this name, Paul, but I'll give you mine. But go on, Gray.
Jalen Tolbert. I think there's every chance Jalen Tolbert could
turns it on throughout the season.
Yeah.
Because remember, Jaron Curse, what didn't come out of the gate, it was a slow burn through the season.
There's every chance Jalen Tolbert could lead the team in. Nah,
definitely.
I was going to say yards, but I don't think so. Nah.
He's more likely to be the catch leader for the first 4 weeks.
I mean, right now, he's wide receiver number 2. So, if you're talking surprise player, yeah. For rookie wide receivers to come in and play well.
In our question of the week, a few weeks back, I put, will Jalen Tolbert lead the receivers in the first 4 weeks? Split decision.
Sorry, but I could not believe I missed this guy out. And DJ Dog.
Somebody's mentioned my guy, have they?
Yeah, DJ Dog just mentioned it. I'll bring up the comment just shortly, folks.
Go on, bring it up. While Jamie's talking.
Chancey Golston.
There you go.
Like when you really do think about it, like he made a really good point in that one. He has completely changed it. He's pretty much turned himself into the Tyron Crawford now.
Yeah.
Like used to be a pure defensive end. Now he's kind of added that extra way to kind of be that free tech, so he can slot back inside to be like an interior defensive tackle. So I think he will surprise a lot of people because he's still got the speed. But if anything, if you watch these preseason games, his hands have been looking very sharp, like getting off the blocks.
Who's your surprise player, Jamie?
Tristan Hill.
Tristan.
Oh,
And
all right.
He's been absolutely gash for the last few years, and
yeah,
and I think even he would say that. But does he finally get it? And this preseason shows that it's looking that way. So I think we might see, maybe not stats wise, but I think in terms of what he would do up the middle to affect that inside of opposition's interior. I just think, he's probably the one.
And when people are hiding on, there's one of the guys I was just about to mention. So you got Neville Gallimore or also Odigizua. One of those two might come out surprised, but Turpin, I think, could be a little bit of a shocker.
I could see him being that little slot guy that how he utilized Cole Beasley at one point.
I see him more like the Lucky Whitehead on the jet sweeps and tunnel screens.
Yeah, that as well. But
Yeah.
you can
Similar roles. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think let's just see what we can do with him. I'm pretty sure Kellen Moore's like, ooh, what can I do here?
So give me your off-season MVP. Could be a player who stood out, a player who's done really well, player who's just done exactly what they said on the tin. You go for it, Paul. Hit me with yours first. And everyone at home, give me who's been your MVP of off-season.
Because he's been making me eat humble pie right now, I'm going to say Sam Williams.
Graham.
Is it too easy to say Dak?
Not at all. He's been solid. It's been solid. That's who I was going to say. Then I thought, no, who's actually kind of made me eat my words more, and Sam Williams has. So,
he taking chances.
He doesn't have his number one. His number two from last year certainly didn't start. Hasn't featured in preseason. I mean, he has played a little bit now. His offensive line is, let's say, in a state of flux, but you just know that the press, and particularly in the US, and maybe a little bit over here, but the US press, if Dak Prescott has a poor day, you hear about it. But I don't think I've heard anything. I think it's just been run of the mill,
working,
high floor, working. Yeah, I think Dak's handled it really, really well so far.
Yeah, Jamie, off-season MVP, and then we'll finish and round this show off.
You always look for somebody to, and I've referred to it a few times, to do what Dak Prescott did in his preseason, kind of thing, and you take your opportunities, especially when you're drafted so low or undrafted or trying to make a roster from one way or another, and because you get so little opportunities to be able to show it. So for me, Turpin. He took his opportunity and he's on the roster.
I like it. So distance traveled for you then is the way you're looking at it. All right then. While you're talking, then Jamie, hit me with this as we round the show off. Go for it, baby.
If 2023, we are looking at doing a trip, like UK Cowboys fans. What's the word I'm looking for?
Travel package.
Travel package, that's it, yeah. So we're looking at going to a game. I couldn't get the words out. You caught me off guard. Usually Paul gets this on, doesn't he? With our good friends at Cowboys Experience.
I'm taking this week off, if you must know.
I mean, you just like I say, you just caught me off. So yeah, we're looking at heading to a game in 2023 through our good friends at Cowboys Experience. That package includes tickets, tour, meet and greets. Obviously, at the minute, game is to be decided. It's going to be. We're going to look at the roster, the schedule when it comes out, but stick with us in the group to see for updates of being able to pay deposits, etc. Kind of stuff.
That's right.
So yeah,
and Graham, you can hit me with this read, and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah, so if you're planning on going to a game this year, make sure you book with Cowboys Experience, our sponsor. They have meet and greets, stadium tours, game tickets available, tailgating before and after the games, and an awful lot more. You just have to book up and make sure you use that discount code UK Cowboys because
you get free stuff.
Yes. So that's it, guys. Preseason show is over and out. So now you're back to 2 shows a week, although I'm lying because next week there's no post-game show. So a week today is our first pre-game show, and then you're into 2 weeks, as well as some other bits and pieces and other shows that are going on with all of us. So make sure you look out for that. They could pop up at any time.
Big Lebarski, I've got your back. Tune in next week.
So make sure you join us every Tuesday, every Thursday going forward, and as well keep an eye out for things on a Friday and a Saturday, as well as updates from our social medias on game day.
I was just going to say, just a big shout out to everybody commenting tonight. You guys are the MVPs.
We always say that. The MVPs of this show are the Ukis who keep us going here. Otherwise, you'll just see 4 of us flatly talking and slowly dying away. I don't know. Anyway, as we do, these guys are going to finish off the show. We'll see you all after the weekend. Stay safe, everyone.
Have a good one, guys. Go Cowboys.
Thanks for tuning in. Stay safe the rest of the weekend. Football's here. Let's go Cowboys.
Football season is back, baby. Finish the fight.